Good afternoon. The meeting will now come to order. Hello, I am Tyra Battaglia, President of the Board of Education. I would like to welcome you to the June 11, 2025 board meeting. In keeping with the board's commitment to open communication with the community, this meeting is being streamed live on the CCPS website at www.carrollk12.org and broadcast live on Channel 21. We are also recording this meeting so that it can be accessed on demand on our website and broadcast throughout the month on Channel 21. Public participation will be held approximately at 5:15, following the reports section on the board meeting agenda. Speakers will be directed into the boardroom from the building lobby and allotted 3 minutes to address the board. As a reminder, please silence all cell phones and other devices. Board members, please turn off your microphones when you are not speaking. Also, please use your cards and you will be acknowledged. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Dorsey.
I'll second.
A second by Mr. Whistler. Comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Next one is an approval of the minutes of the unapproved board meeting minutes for May 14th, 2025.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Whistler. Second. A second by Ms. Zimmer. Questions or comments? And it is the revised version. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
It passes unanimously. All right. Dr. McCabe.
Good evening. It is with great pleasure that we, the members of the Board of Education of Carroll County, seat the 50th student representative to the Board of Education. Jasmina Musava, please come forward and take your seat on the dais as the new student representative to the board for the 2025-2026 school year. Jasmina Musava is a rising junior at Liberty High School, and the board is pleased to have her as a representative and advocate for our students. I would like to recognize family members here with Jasmina today. Her mother, Nargiza Mahmudova, her brother, Sultan Musav, and her sister, Dinara Musava. Jasmina, would you like to say a few words?
Hi guys, I'm so thankful for this opportunity to be able to serve on the Board of Education with my new position as well as my members. And I would like to thank everyone who has supported me along the way, including my parents, my family, and thank you for never giving up on believing in me.
Thank you. And now, board members, would you please join me down front in front of the dais as we recognize our Carson Scholars for this year. And Mr. Shockney, would you please come to the podium?
All right, good evening. It's my pleasure tonight to present our Carson Scholars. 36 students from Carroll County Public Schools have received the prestigious honor of being named Carson Scholars. Each year, the Carson Scholars Fund honors an elite group of students from grades 4 through 11 who not only demonstrate exceptional academic achievements by maintaining at least a 3.75 GPA, but also embody significant humanitarian qualities. The scholars were awarded a $1,000 college scholarship, an Olympic-sized medal, and a certificate at the 29th Maryland Carson Scholars Awards ceremony in May. Students, as I call your name, please come forward, and parents and family members who are here, please stand as we recognize your student. First student, Anika Argawal, grade 11, Liberty High School. Parents, Devarshi Pant and Ruchi Argawal. Julian Bell, grade 7, North Carroll Middle School. Parents, Michael and Joy Bell. Ayla Burge, grade 5, Winfield Elementary School. Parents, Andrew and Michelle Burge. Cora Guyman, grade 5, Runnymede Elementary School. Parents, Lucas and Deanna Guyman. Evelyn Haddad, grade 4, Cranberry Station Elementary School. Parents, Casey and Natalie Davis. Layla Harrison, grade 5, Mount Airy Elementary School. Parents, Mark and Caitlin Harrison. Caleb Kirst, grade 5, Friendship Valley Elementary School. Parents, Stephen and Aaron Kirst. Olivia Kim, grade 8, Mount Airy Middle School. Parents, Jung and E. Kim. Vian Patel, grade 6, Sykesville Middle School. Parents, Sherbatin and Kalapesh Patel. Ella Richmond, grade 10, Winters Mill High School. Parents, Daniel and Sherry Richmond. Nihal Singh, grade 5, Freedom Elementary School. Parents, Suman and Jasvinder Singh. Shiv Talati, grade 5, Ebb Valley Elementary School. Parents, Panal and Namrati Talati. Amos Tuttle, grade 5, Sandy Mount Elementary School. Parents, Liman and Jocelyn Tuttle. Penelope Watts, grade 4, William Winchester Elementary School. Parents, Stephen and Nina Watts. Taylor Story, grade 6, West Middle School. Parents, Adam and Christina Story. And very importantly, did I miss anyone in the audience? Parents, guardians, and students, thank you, congratulations. Thanks. Thank you, board members, for coming down. We have one more student to recognize. No one. All right, and Madeline Hammond, grade 8, Oklahoma Road Middle School, parents Jason and Sarah Hammond. Thank you very much, board members. Thank you.
Congratulations. What we'll do is we'll wait a little bit for anyone that's leaving, and then we'll continue with the meeting here. Congratulations, everyone.
Not like the Carson banquet.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay. We'll go ahead and continue on here. So next on our agenda is board member activities and correspondence. So we will start with Dr. Malvo.
Okay, thank you. So for monthly activities, May the 16th, I met with Carl Streeker, Director of Student Services, to discuss policies that are in place that assist with a healthy classroom atmosphere and learning environment. Mr. Streeker provided a helpful overview of available practices that can assist teachers, parents, and students in need. I appreciate the time that you provided, Mr. Streeker. May 21st, I attended the Career and Technology Center's Academy of Health Professions certificate ceremony. Our students will become excellent nurses, pharmacy technicians, dental assistants, and more. And thank you to the teachers who provided them the skills to succeed. On May the 22nd, I attended the Shiloh Middle School Spring Concert, led by chorus teacher Kimberly Hobbs. The students delivered riveting songs and added dance to their performances that made parents very proud. Also on May 22nd, I went to the 10th annual Drug Overdose and Prevention Vigil held at St. John's Portico. This solemn yet very powerful evening honored those who were lost to substance use, served to support families and loved ones impacted by addiction, and highlighted our community's commitment to prevention, healing, and recovery. Thank you to all of the organizers of this extraordinary event. During the weekend of May 24th and 25th, I thoroughly enjoyed watching performances of the play Something Rotten by middle school level students. Constellations Theater, again, has put forth, through director Rob Miller and assistant director Grace Miller, an amazing show for our community. Look out for their fall production of The Descendants. May 28th, I attended the Gateway School graduation ceremony. The teachers shared so many amazing stories about the fortitude and accomplishments of graduating seniors. These students and parents deserve all of the praise given, and I know the students will go on to do incredible things. May the 29th, I attended the Sandy Mount Elementary School Spring Music Concert, and I sure appreciate the time with Assistant Principal Stacy Kulovich and the staff. Also, Tamba Giles and Nancy Hawkenberry should be very proud of the result of their hard work in preparing the chorus and the band for such great performances. May the 30th, I took part in the Transition Connections Academy's certificate ceremony. It was so inspirational to see the presentations that showed various vocational training, work-based learning experiences, and community partnerships that the seniors engaged in to prepare for post-secondary activities and employment. Congratulations to those students and family members. June the 2nd, I also took part in the 15th annual graduation ceremony at Manchester Valley High. Some major achievements of the graduates, and there are many, include that 15 students graduated with a cumulative average of 4.0 GPA, and that 63 students earned the President's Award for Academic Excellence. Great job, seniors. June the 3rd, I joined the 58th annual graduation ceremony for South Carroll High School. Some notable facts about these graduates are that 77% of the graduating seniors will continue their education, 6% will pursue a trade or technical education, and that the senior class accumulated a combined $6.9 million in scholarships. Great job, seniors. And then on June the 5th, a little saddened it's the last one I went to, I joined the 125th annual graduation ceremony for Westminster High School. And a couple of outstanding accomplishments of the class of 2025 include 146 students satisfied requirements of state-approved career completer programs either through the school or the Career and Tech Center. And overall, students logged in more than 16,413 service hours over the course of their education. Congratulations, seniors, on your amazing accomplishments and coming success. I really enjoyed this time spent at the various commencement ceremonies throughout this county, and I treasured it as a freshman board member. The special time spent with so many exceptional students, along with their parents and staff, was really awarding. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Dorsey?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to welcome Jasmina to the board. I look forward to working with you and also to hearing you share the student voice. So welcome. On May 15th at the Carroll County Career and Technology Center, they hosted an enjoyable appreciation event to recognize and thank partners who have supported the Career Connections program. May 16th, we had our Curriculum Council meeting. This meeting provided an opportunity for a final review of the instructional materials that will be brought before our board tonight. Special thanks to Mr. Wernick for facilitating all of our meetings this year. He has been very responsive and open to all suggestions, and he's really led the council through a very productive year. So thank you very much, Mr. Wernick. Also on the 16th, I enjoyed going to the Project Lead the Way Engineering, Design, and Development Trade Show. Students shared their projects, which were based on their solutions to problems. So I enjoyed hearing them share. They were very well prepared and skillful in their presentations. Many thanks to the reviewers, mentors, teachers, and administrators of the program. May 20th, I attended our Equity Liaison meeting. Equity Council members had the opportunity to meet with school liaisons in regional meetings. Many thanks to school leaders for targeting specific goals and groups based on data for their schools with the aim to improve student achievement and/or behavior. On May 21st and 22nd, and you're going to be hearing a repeat because a lot of us were attending the ceremonies, but on the 21st and 22nd, I attended the Carroll County Career Technology Center ceremonies for the various programs. So certainly it was an honor to attend the ceremonies and hear of the accomplishments of the students in all of the programs. On May 22nd, I attended MABE nominating committee meeting. The committee recommended members to serve in leadership roles for MABE for next year. The slate is going to be presented at this year's annual conference. May 26th, I attended a Memorial Day service at Garrison Forest Veterans Cemetery. I attended the service to honor and show respect and gratitude to those who served in the military, especially to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice of their lives, while in service to our country. May 28th, it was the Carroll Springs certificate ceremony honoring a very special graduate. Thanks to Ms. Freeman and the Carroll Springs faculty and students for sharing well wishes with the graduate. Later that day, I attended Gateway School's graduation ceremony. A very special send-off was shared with the graduates, thanks to Mr. Wetzel, Mr. Jones, and the entire faculty and staff. May 29th, a virtual meeting for a MABE legislative update. MABE staff presented an update on information that's happening at the federal level and in courts and Congress, as well as the fiscal year 26 budget. May 30th, Transition Connections Academy certificate ceremony. This ceremony honored students of the Transition Connections Academy. And next, I'll just share that I attended graduation exercises during the week of June 2nd. Even though each ceremony followed a similar script, each was also different as the accomplishments and speeches were personalized to the individual schools. CCPS has reason to be proud. Students truly exemplify the end product of their years of education from pre-K through 12 for some and K through 12 for others. So thanks and congratulations to all graduates of 2025, along with their parents, guardians, and families, and to our entire faculties and staffs from elementary through high schools. It was my pleasure to help present diplomas to the students. June 2nd, it was Man Valley's and Century graduations, in addition to the best graduation. June 3rd, Scott Key and South Carroll graduations. June 4th, Liberty High and Winters Mills graduations. And on June 5th, Westminster High School graduation. And that day, I also attended an Equity Council meeting virtually. Our committee members reviewed information from our recent regional meetings and provided feedback. We also thanked several members who are leaving the committee, Pam Mesta, Sharon Lilly, and Ryan Milhorn, and we welcomed one new member to date, and we'll have others to welcome in the future. With the upcoming end of the school year, I certainly thank all of our students, parents, guardians, families, faculty members, and staffs for making this a productive school year. We've worked through some challenges this year, but I think we are in a good place because we've worked together. So I hope that everyone will enjoy a wonderful, safe summer with your families. And again, good luck and best wishes to the classes of 2025.
Thank you, Dr. Dorsey. I'll allow our new student representative to go ahead and give a report.
I would like to once again thank you guys for electing me into this position, and I cannot wait to work with all my board members. On May 14th, I had the privilege to attend the May Board of Ed meeting and see Chloe King's final meeting. On May 21st, I was able to meet with Ms. Lucido for the first time about my role and its experience. On May 24th, I was able to connect with the Maryland student members of the board and hopefully plan something over the summer and plan different things. On June 4th, I attended the Liberty High School graduation and had the privilege to play in the Wind Ensemble Band. And just recently yesterday, I met with Mrs. Eisenberg, the CCPS board attorney, to go over laws and regulations to do with the board. And as a final note, I would like to wish good luck to everyone finishing up their finals, and I hope everyone has a summer full of love and fun.
Thank you and welcome again. Ms. Zimmer.
Welcome, Jasmina. I remember my first meeting. I was all nerves, so you're good. We're happy to have you here. On May 16th, I attended the Curriculum Council meeting. On May 20th, I attended the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce's Public Safety Awards. Thank you to our own Curtis Pierce, who sits on the committee that recognizes men and women who bravely serve and protect Carroll County. On May 28th, I attended the graduation for the Gateway School. And on June 2nd and 3rd, I attended graduations for Century High School and South Carroll High School. On June 6th, I had the very special honor of serving as the guest speaker at Piney Ridge Elementary's honor ceremony. Thank you to Principal Code for inviting me. And finally, this month, instead of highlighting or spotlighting something that's happening inside our classrooms, I'd like to spotlight one of our outstanding educators. Miss Karen Reisdorf, my first grade teacher, who is retiring from Carroll County Public Schools after an incredible 40-year teaching career. I will never forget the warmth and patience that she brought to the classroom or the way that she made every child feel special. One memory that has stayed with me over the decades happened when my older sister, a then fourth grader, started bringing her purse to school. Naturally, I wanted to be just like her and brought my purse to first grade too. But every time that I stood up from my desk, the purse would get caught and tangled on the chair. Instead of scolding me or correcting me, Miss Reisdorf simply said with a gentle smile, "That must be frustrating to have your purse caught every time you get up." I nodded, and it almost felt like my idea when I went and put the purse in my locker. She had a way of guiding us with kindness and allowing us to learn and grow. Most recently, Miss Reisdorf, who's currently finishing up the year as a math teacher at Winters Mill High School, reached out to offer words of encouragement during my first 6 months on this board, reminding me of the impact that a great teacher can have well beyond the classroom. Congratulations to Ms. Reisdorf and to all of the incredible CCPS teachers who are retiring this year. Your dedication has shaped countless students' lives across Carroll County, and your impact will be felt in the generations to come. I wish you all the very best in the next chapters ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Whistler.
Thank you. Again, welcome to our newest colleague. You're going to be great. You're going to be great. It's nice having you. On May 22nd, I attended certificate ceremonies for career and tech students studying cosmetology, print production, video production, interactive media production, biomedical sciences, building maintenance, and criminal justice. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend the previous day's ceremony and wanted to also congratulate students who received certificates for studying nursing, assistance, career accessible skills, pharmacy, dental, physical rehab, engineering, and teaching. Great job to all of our tech ed students. I'm so very proud. Our tech ed students racked up at the Skills USA competition, receiving more accolades than any other county in the state. So well done to all of our educators and administrators at Career and Tech. On May 24th, I joined many Scouts, students, American Legion veterans, and neighbors to place 1,154 flags on the final resting place of veterans at Lakeview Memorial Park in Sykesville-Eldersburg area. Many thanks to several Century High School JROTC students that helped honor our veterans that day. On May 25th, I attended the 36th annual National Memorial Day concert in Washington, D.C. I hope we never forget the ultimate sacrifice of those who serve and the impact their loss has on their families still to this day. But a great job by our military service choirs, bands. They did a fantastic job down there in D.C. I was able to sit on the steps of the Capitol. It was a great evening. On May 26th, I accepted Mayor Chris Miller's invitation to attend a Veterans Day ceremony in Tawnytown, where we commemorated and remembered those Carroll Countyans that we lost. And so it was a great event there that morning. On May 28th, I attended a certificate ceremony for a student at Carroll Springs in Westminster, and later that day we awarded diplomas to 30 Gateway seniors at Carroll Community College. On May 30th, I also attended a certificate ceremony for 12 students that attended Transitions Connections Academy I want to express my gratitude to the numerous community partners that help these students experience work-based learning opportunities so they can become self-directed individuals, responsible citizens, confident communicators, and active members of our community. These students get skills and education training up until their 21st birthday. So great job to the folks at Transitions Connections Academy for helping these folks transition into the community. During the week of June 2nd, I attended every high school graduation at McDaniel College, as well as the Best Program Diploma ceremony at Westminster High. Two ceremonies were particularly special to me since I was able to congratulate two of my former elementary school students when I taught in Baltimore County. One was from Manchester Valley, whom I taught when he was in kindergarten at Arbutus Elementary way back when, and another from Tawnytown, who is one of my former fifth grade students. So well done to them, but congratulations to all of our seniors who, by my count, racked up about $80 million in scholarships. They achieved numerous sports championships, earned many awards in the arts and theater, and I counted over 36 individuals who plan to enter the military, which makes me proud, and at least 4 more who will attend military service academies in the fall. We also had several students earn their Associate of Arts degree from Carroll Community College, which is an incredible achievement. I'm so very proud of the hard work of our students, our parents, and all of our educators. Their incredible support and unwavering focus on success has helped so many of our students make the most of their K through 12 journey. Again, congratulations to everyone. A culmination of so much work, receiving so much benefit for our students. I hope everyone has an incredibly safe and fun summer. Please encourage your kids to read and learn at every opportunity over the summer so that they can be better prepared for school in September. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, as with my fellow board members, I spent the end of May and the beginning of June attending various certification ceremonies and graduations. Congratulations to all and on the many accomplishments that were acknowledged. Quite a few. I mean, it was incredible. The last day of school is just hours away. Yes, hours away. I want to thank all our staff for a great year. Carroll County continues to show why we are one of the best school systems in the state. Thank you to all our parents and volunteers who supported their school communities. And to all the students, I hope you have a wonderful and safe summer. This morning I spent some time there at Manchester Elementary for their 5th grade moving up ceremony. I want to thank the staff and the volunteers on an incredible event. As a parent, it was a great way to celebrate our children moving on to the next chapter to their journey as middle schoolers. And I pray for every single one of them parents every day, because middle schoolers are just so much fun. And for the teachers, because God bless you on that part. Finally, I want to acknowledge the birthday of our U.S. Army. As an individual that comes from a long line of family members that served in the Army, and my niece that is preparing to leave for boot camp, I am so proud of what the Army has done for them and supported them, as well as many other families. Thank you to everyone that serves in any branch of military service, and I pray for the safety as you serve and protect our nation. And I hope everyone has a wonderful summer.
Good evening. This evening, I'm pleased to share that our school system has achieved the prestigious designation of being among the best communities for music education, awarded by the National Association of Music Merchants Foundation. This marks the 9th consecutive year that we have received this honor, highlighting our exceptional music education programs. This recognition reflects the dedicated efforts of teachers, administrators, parents, students, and community leaders who work tirelessly to integrate music into a comprehensive education for every child. Our music program has garnered numerous accolades at both the state and national levels. A special thanks to Carl Stewart and Greg Killian for their leadership in our performing and visual arts programs. Next, I would like to congratulate Erin Turfel, a special education kindergarten teacher at Winfield Elementary School. Erin received the Special Education Professional of the Year Award presented by the ARC of Carroll County. This award is given to an education professional who has demonstrated excellence in providing quality educational opportunities or advocates for Carroll County students with developmental disabilities. Erin capitalizes on each student's strengths and helps them continue to learn and grow. She cares deeply about her students, which is evident in her daily interactions with them and their families. She was nominated for the award by a parent for the tremendous impact she has had on the student's life by being a vocal, kind, intelligent, and committed advocate. And now I would like to congratulate our spring champions in track and field, tennis, and lacrosse. Our team champions are Liberty High School Boys Track and Field was the state 1A champion, and their coach was Trent Rose. Liberty also brought home the 1A championship in tennis, and the coaches there are Tim Brecker and Hannah Shinsky. Next, Manchester Valley won the 2A Girls Lacrosse Championship, and their coach is Shelley Brzicki. Next, we have South Carroll High School, who won the 1A Girls Lacrosse Championship, and their coach is Bridget Scanlon. In the individual championships, Century High School won the Girls 4x800 Championship. Liberty High School won individual state championships in both the girls and boys 1,600 meters and boys pole vault. And South Carroll was the state individual champion in girls pole vault and won the individual championship for girls doubles in tennis. I also would like to congratulate Marigold Kolpatia, a 7th grade student at Sykesville Middle School, for being a winner of the annual poster contest sponsored by the Maryland Council on Economic Education. This contest offers students across the state an opportunity to creatively showcase their understanding of key economic and personal finance concepts. Marigold's poster focused on taxes and the essential services they fund. She received a medal, a $50 check, and a certificate in recognition of her achievement. Congratulations as well to the Liberty High School esports chess team, which placed second in the Eastern Conference regular season. The team is now ranked as the #1 team in Maryland and 5th on the East Coast. Congratulations to the team members and Coach Francisco Romero. Last week, it was my great pleasure to attend and present the class of 2025 for the awarding of diplomas in most of our high school graduations. This year, we had just over 2,000 graduates. We are very proud of what they've accomplished and wish them much success in the future. I also would like to add my thanks to everyone who helped to plan and conduct our graduation ceremonies, and for making them a special experience that our students will always remember. Finally, I would like to thank our students and staff for their hard work and dedication throughout the school year. It is because of their efforts, as well as the incredible support of our parents and community, that we experienced another successful school year. I hope that everyone has a great and restful summer.
Thank you, everybody. Sounds like we were busy. Okay, we're going to move on to presentations. 3A pillar for safe and secure environment. Dr. McCabe.
June is the designated month when we provide updates on Pillar 4 of our strategic plan. Mr. O'Neill is here to share highlights, and the team is available for any questions or discussion. Mr. O'Neill?
Thank you, Dr. McCabe, and good evening. And I don't know what just happened, Brenda. And the team might need to come to the rescue quickly. The team would include Mr. Pierce and Mr. Prokop. What is happening?
Hey, that's pretty awesome.
I don't think I know how to do that. There we go. Let's try again. Let's try again. Here we go. As Dr. McCabe said, June is the month where we report on the fourth pillar of the strategic plan. And Mr. Shockney, as you may remember, is our overall coordinator of the strategic plan. And as a true educator, we always have a very clear objective for our lesson today. And so we're here to discuss Pillar 4 and our progress through this presentation, and to give you and the community a chance to hear this information and for you to ask some questions. Pillar 4 is the part of the strategic plan that deals with us establishing a safe, secure, healthy, and modern learning environments. And I'm not going to read all of the descriptor, which you have access to. And then very quickly, here are the objectives, the two objectives for Pillar 4, as well as the two priority focus areas for Pillar 4. Which we're here to talk a little bit about tonight. And the first objective deals with our school security program and promoting a culture of security through ensuring that the appropriate number of drills, either tabletop or functional exercises, are completed by each school. And there's sort of a menu of what those exercises might look like that are developed by the Board of Ed's Security Advisory Council. And the second focus area is that through your work on your capital improvement plan, you will have a plan that would maintain or try to maintain the facility condition index for the inventory of the school system. So a little bit more on those two focus areas. We did meet the first one in the area of security during this past school year. All of the schools did complete at least one tabletop exercise in coordination with the school security office, which consists of Mr. Curtis Pierce and Mr. Brian Elliott. That is the office. And certainly schools are always encouraged to complete additional exercises if they can fit that into their schedule and time. We hope that they can and do, and Mr. Pierce and Mr. Elliott are there to assist them in working those out. And then for the last couple of years and maybe into the future, it looks like the Maryland Center for School Safety has been coordinating statewide tabletop exercises for all school systems in Maryland in real time, virtually, but in real time. And they've been working, our team and a team like ours, all over the state and every of the 24 school systems through a series of tabletop exercises. And those generally look something like you're assembled as a team to work through a simulated event or situation, and how you would respond to that situation, what your protocols would look like, how you exercise those protocols, do you connect all of the dots, those sorts of things. And there's a time for reflection, looking at best practices, seeing how well we did in terms of meeting our protocols, and also learning what sort of wild cards came up that maybe we had not anticipated in the past, or even if we did, how did we work through them? So a success there. On the FCI, or the Facilities Condition Index, this is actually part of your Facilities Master Plan, which is on your agenda later this evening. And this is a measure that has long existed in the Facilities Master Plan. It is sort of a scoring of all of our buildings on sort of two conditions, two types of areas. One is sort of the age and physical condition of the building. That gets a score. And then there is a score attached to how well the building, through its design and layout, serves the educational program. And those two scores per building combined are what we would refer to as the condition index. And we also, in addition to measuring how we're doing with our capital planning, we use that tool as part of the master plan to prioritize which projects we might recommend in which priority order for you to consider as part of your CIP request each year, your budget request. And as you can see, if you could see, you see two actual years, and then you see the future here on this graph. As you can see, we're coming out of a place where we had a better FCI. That is always going to be a direct reflection of the number of complete modernizations of schools that you can complete through your capital program. And so we're coming off of a window when East Middle and Career and Tech were funded and then constructed, and so that helps the FCI. When you move from, and typically this is how the budget works, you usually do not have the funding to modernize a school per year, and so when you come off of a period where you modernize a school or some schools, and you're not able to do another one in quick succession, then that FCI score is going to move up. But then when you look to out years of the budget or the CIP as a planning document or a prospective budget request, you can see as you get to places where other modernizations would occur, then the score would come back down. So this is a not met because we're coming off 2 modernizations and none planned in the immediate future. But I would honestly say the FCI is more of a planning tool or a metric or a benchmark just to sort of keep in mind, is your CIP request headed where you want it to be to kind of meet the overall goal for where you want your physical school inventory to be and look like in terms of being up to date and being modernized. So realistically, we didn't expect or anticipate that this was going to be a MET because we know these data, you know these data through the master plan and the CIP process, but it is a good way to sort of track our progress and track where you're trying to go with your CIP. That is more than I hope to say, so I will pause and see if you have any questions for me or Mr. Pierce or Mr. Prokop.
Dr. Malvo.
Just in brief, if possible, and thank you, Mr. Pierce and Prokop, for the security. It's so important for our schools. Would you mind just telling us real quick, maybe publicly, we'd like to know, what's the sort of example of an exercise that might be done in terms of the tabletop exercises? What exactly would that entail, perhaps?
Sure. So the 3 that I'll speak on, the first that we facilitated was, what we'll do is we'll watch what's happening around us, and we'll try to take it into our schools so to see if we can simulate that by sitting down with the staff and say, hypothetically, if this were to happen. So one of the examples was a trespass. Someone got into the building. They weren't supposed to be in the building. What's our protocol? How would we handle it? And then what are the options that are available to us? So then we'll take that, we work through it, and then we'll say, okay, now let's say that the person is outside the school. They're approaching the school, they're pulling on doors, they're doing things that wouldn't be normal to a day-to-day activity. How would we handle that differently? Parent drop-off, parent pickup. During those times, how would we handle those? So we try to get the staff to think through the different things, and often we don't make them overly challenging because those are things that we deal with on a regular basis. But if we can learn from another school system or something that's happened across the country, then we'll do that. The other 2, one was a reunification. We utilized East Middle as where the incident occurred, and we did a reunification to Winters Mill High School. That's pretty complicated to talk through in just a couple of hours because in reality, reunification would take a really, really, really long time, probably an entire day, 10 to 12, maybe longer hours. But it's good to talk about all the resources that you would need. And then the last one was an after-school event where there were a few injuries and we needed to get EMS and law enforcement in to treat the patients. And then how do we make notifications, and then how do we recover? Is school going to be open the next day? So on and so forth. And then the resources beyond that. So those are the 3 examples that were talked about on the presentation tonight. But there's a long list that the Security Advisory Council has provided to schools that they are welcome to do. We're always planning, we're always training, and we have another one already in the works for next year.
Thank you.
Mr. Whistler?
Yeah, thank you. Again, just a comment. Our superintendent and her staff has developed an incredibly wonderful data dashboard. So if I can use this opportunity to advertise it, again, go to carrollk12.org, click on Board of Education, and click on Data Dashboard. But you can get an update on all of the pillars. And but I reviewed it earlier today in preparation for this meeting. But again, that's just a great resource for students, parents, and teachers. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Curtis. I appreciate everything that you do. And, I know it has not been easy. All the parents want, answers right away for every situation. But, I'm very thankful for everything you do and for what the council does as well in keeping our students and staff in our community safe. Thanks. All right, we're going to now move on to reports. First one is for a school construction report. Dr. McCabe.
This is the monthly school construction report, and Mr. Marks is here for any board member questions.
Okay. All right, the next one is 4B, Annual Report of the Carroll County Teacher Advisory Council 2024-2025. Dr. McCabe.
So the comments that I'm going to make now pertain to the next 7 agenda items, reports 4B through 4H. June is the month when we provide the board with written reports, and the reports summarize the work of each of the 7 board-appointed committees or councils through this past school year. Each council has a staff liaison who is present for any specific board member questions or comments about any of the reports this evening for our councils. Additionally, each council has 2 board members who serve as board representatives to that council. If any of you would like to offer a comment about the work of the council or councils on which you serve, please feel free to do so. And with that, I know you've had the reports to review, so I'll pause to see if you have any questions or comments about any of the council reports or any discussion items at this time.
All right, Ms. Zimmer?
Thank you. I just had questions from the Teacher Advisory Council. On page 2, it talked about the portable electronic devices, the new cell phone changes that we implemented. I just wanted to hear how that was going, just get a general update.
Generally, overall, the feedback was positive, that our students, and I think it was, it took some, we experienced maybe a little bit of a transition period of time at the beginning of the year, which was reasonable. But our teachers did comment that the administrations at each of our schools got ahead of it, was clear with communications, clear with expectations, and consistently implemented them. They still pop up from time to time as a problem or a nuisance, but I think overall, the changes for this school year that we've implemented have been positive and are going well.
Okay, great. And then just the second question had to do with the K through 2 technology changes. I saw that it was noted that the council expressed concern that these changes might have negative future impact on student achievement, as students may be less proficient with technology when they get to 3rd grade.
Yeah.
So obviously it's early on. I'm just wondering, is there any kind of plan in place to track what that may or may not look like in case there are negative impacts?
It would be difficult to quantify. Remember, we still, though, have access to devices, but on a shared basis in grades K to 2. I think the general concern from the advisory council was obviously going from a one-to-one environment where students have, daily access or readily access. In the end, the worry of could students be a little less prepared for our state assessments, and that was one of those potential harmful effects that we discussed as we made that difficult decision and transition. So overall, our students still have access to devices, but that was a little bit of a worry. How we could quantify that, I don't know, but obviously, we'll make sure that our students are still as prepared as they can be with the access to the technology that we currently have.
Dr. Dorsey.
I had the pleasure of attending one of the meetings this year, and again, it was very well run and great presentations, and I think it's just good when you can bring together the teacher leaders.
It's a great group of staff.
Oh, I was pretty impressed with the day. So again, I think our council does a great job, and again, with your leadership, Mr. Shockney, and with the presentations that you have come in, I think it's very, very valuable. Again, it was good for me to hear, especially at the middle and high school levels, some of the ways that they implement, tracking students and that kind of thing. So anyway, very, very good council, very productive.
Dr. Malvell.
Just want to make sure, are we able to discuss the other council's reports as well at this point, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the Carroll County Curriculum Council, actually, I wanted to voice something on that. And I don't know if Mr. Wernick's available or
He's here.
he's here. Okay, great. I am happy and pleased to see this in terms of one of the comments or feedback from a council member was that they were very well presented, very informative. I was unaware of the cursive, or that cursive was still taught. And so I'm not even sure what extent cursive is taught, but I like the sound of it. And could you tell us to what extent is cursive taught in our schools and the breadth and depth of that?
Absolutely. I'll actually start with manuscript and print because it builds upon. So we really start manuscript and print in pre-K and through 2. We really begin in January of pre-K and then continue through second grade. We practice through the Foundations program that is both supports phonics, phonemic awareness, as well as writing. And so that's actually a scripted program that we often use. You'll hear quite often about that within our reading program. But manuscripts done often practice explicitly in both whole group and small groups based on students' needs. We also practice it in center time where students can write their letters formally. And then they have Foundations notebooks that they can use to print. They also have daily writing opportunities just in general to write, and so that also helps manuscript and printing. When they get to the end of second grade and really the beginning of third grade, we really try to transition our students to cursive writing. And really that depends on their fine motor skills and their ability to be able to write in cursive. But at beginning in third grade, we have explicit instruction in cursive letter writing. We actually have formations of how to properly slant letters, how to hold the paper and the pencil or pen, because it does look different from when you manuscript write to cursive writing. All schools have cursive writing kits, again, and posters through the Wilsons and Foundations program that we use that carries through pre-K through 5. When your students are provided not using technology, they actually have a choice. Although we teach cursive, it's what you write best in. I actually print because I can't read my own cursive writing. So some students prefer cursive writing compared to manuscript, so it depends on them. But we do require students at least once a quarter to really write a cursive final draft in 3 through 5. So they're getting that experience. And so we'll continue to write with students, independently if they're struggling or in small group. And so throughout the year, we really have extended writing processes for cursive.
Great. Let's keep up the good work in the cursive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Whistler?
Yeah, just some comments. I've been involved with the Teacher Advisory Council meeting, the Special Education and Citizens Advisory Committee meeting, and then the Family Life Advisory Committee meeting. I appreciate the service that all of those members give us. Again, we did have some really good discussions about the cell phone policy with the teachers. Again, very, very favorable feedback from them. On the Special Education Committee, I really appreciate the work of Ms. Whittle and her team to focus on those students, to make sure that they get the services that they need and deserve, and also to just, they're very proactive in going out of the area to see best practices in other parts of the state. And so I really appreciate that effort, attending conferences, and so again, just great job by that committee. And then I also appreciate the efforts of our Family Life Advisory Committee for simplifying the notification process of our teachers, because our teachers do spend a lot of time trying to do that positive contact with parents to make sure that they get their preference on what curriculum option is best for their child. So thanks to the Family Life Advisory Committee members for making that process a bit more simple for teachers, and it takes a lot of the weight off their shoulders. But that's it for me. And again, I appreciate everybody's efforts associated with these committees. We can't do this without the volunteers from our parents or educators getting involved in these committees. Your input really matters, and we make really big decisions based on your input and your participation.
Okay, let's see, I'll start with Dr. Dorsey and then I'll go with Ms.
I just wanted to comment, again, I am a part of the Curriculum Council meeting, and again, we've had a very productive year. In fact, that's my top comment that's noted on page 5. Again, Steve has been very responsive, and we've certainly had a productive year as a council. And I just wanted to make a comment about the format of all of these reports. Again, I think they're all very well done. They're easy to follow, sharing the charge, the responsibilities, and what was done at each of the meetings, and following up with the recommendations to the board. So just thanks for making the reports very easy to follow, and, I think they have a lot of meat to them. So thanks.
Ms. Zimmer?
I'm sorry, forgot I had one more, and this was for the Family Life Advisory Committee. I saw that at every meeting, there was an update on the percentages of the 3 parent options, the CCPS, MSDE, and the full opt-out. I was just wondering, as the year is coming to a close, what those final numbers, how'd they shake out?
I do not have them in front of me. I can provide them to you. They've been very similar across the years as we looked at them, as well as across the time period. But I will definitely have them for you after the meeting.
Thank you so much.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Okay. All right, we'll move on to 4I, Blueprint Update Report. Dr. McCabe.
With the waiver approved and the work ongoing with the consultants, we thought we'd focus on some other blueprint areas this evening for some brief updates. Mr. O'Neill will provide some updates on the career counseling, community schools, and career ladder development aspects of the blueprint. Then he and other staff will respond to any questions you may have. Mr. O'Neill?
See what happens with the clicker. Nothing. There we go. We thought it would be lovely to talk about something other than the fiscal compliance aspect of Blueprint and the waiver. And in all seriousness, we spoke last time even about, with the waiver and the work going on there, an opportunity maybe to spend a couple of months sharing some of the other work of the Blueprint, because the Blueprint is way more than just the budgeting parts. And there's a lot of good work and some really powerful, positive things happening in Carroll County Public Schools. So we picked these 3 areas for tonight. Career counseling, you may recall from the Blueprint, there was a requirement that local boards of ed partner with local workforce development boards to extend career counseling down through the middle school grade levels. We have a very positive partnership with the local workforce development board in Carroll. And then one of the legislative outcomes in this session was that partnership would be extended. It was set to sunset next year. It's not going to sunset next year. Part of House Bill 504, which we've discussed for other reasons in the past, is to extend that partnership through fiscal 28, so for 3 more fiscal years upcoming. And that the General Assembly and the Governor would like to have some updated reports on the effectiveness of the program by a certain date, which you can see. If there's any sort of other thing to think about with the career counseling program, it is that it does carve out a bit of the foundation amount of money per pupil, because the Board of Ed, through your budget, funds the program with the Workforce Development Board. I would say, however, that our arrangement and our agreement with the Carroll Workforce Development Board, which may be different than in other counties, is that we very much share that work. And so while the program creates some FTE, both here and at workforce development, in our case, they're not all at workforce development. And so the middle school career coaches who were established as part of that partnership are Carroll County Public Schools employees, and then there are navigators and coordinators who are part of the Carroll County Workforce Development Board. And they work together seamlessly to provide opportunities for what careers may be available. There's some ways in which students can simulate those careers through virtual reality software and tools, and then also certainly to bring in different business folks or industry folks to share with students opportunities that are on their horizon. And the ultimate goal is to sort of start in 6th grade so that students have an opportunity to think about career planning earlier, so that when they get to college and career ready in 10th, they may have a clearer picture where to go. And so that's one aspect that goes well here. Sometimes I hear that maybe it doesn't go so well in other counties, but it's going very well from the beginning here. And I believe we have one of our middle school career coaches sitting just over my left shoulder here this evening. Second area we wanted to talk about was community schools. You might recall that there's a part of the blueprint that addresses what we call concentration of poverty schools or centers, and there's a certain threshold in the law that if the overall population of a school's students reaches a certain threshold, it happens to be 55% for fiscal year 26, then that school would be designated as a concentration of poverty site and therefore would go through a process of becoming a community school. And when a school is identified, the state has a two-tiered grant process, so it is at least funded by the state. The first is a personnel grant, and that grant is designed to allow the boards of ed to hire a community schools coordinator for that school site. And the first task of that community schools coordinator is to do a needs assessment of the needs in that particular community. And then if the school sustains its status of being eligible for multiple years, there's a second grant on a per pupilized basis that then would theoretically pay for those services from the needs assessment to be implemented. A couple of years ago, Tawnytown Elementary School reached that status, that threshold, and is well beyond any concern that Tawnytown, in my mind, would ever slip below being eligible. And so that process that I just described has been in place and is in place at Tawnytown. This year in our data, we find that Robert Moton Elementary School will enter the first year of eligibility, and so they will receive the first year of the personnel grant to hire a community schools coordinator and go through the process. And Gateway and Crossroads are here. So this has been something we have talked about. It's been a minute since we've talked about this. This is a bit of a challenge for us under Blueprint because Gateway, Crossroads, Middle are not schools in the traditional sense of truly being a school that serves a geographic community. They're sort of regionalized or centralized programs that serve students throughout Carroll County. And the population of students who attend is different than who might attend an elementary or a middle or a high school. And so there's some flexibility of the population. And so what we've seen here is something we were mindful of early on when Crossroads was first recognized as a community school. It's a scenario whereby it's not a community school in the traditional way you would think about it, like a Tawnytown Elementary. That's a community school, but also the population is designed to come and go, and as they meet services, they go back to their home school, perhaps. So the student population that's in place when the school is identified as eligible may well not be the same population in place when the needs assessment's completed, kind of a scenario. And so, that's a complexity we've been seeing. So Crossroads entered eligibility status 3 years ago, and then immediately in the next data exited eligibility status, but the grant endorsed for 3 years. And so that's actually phasing out, but at the same time, Gateway enters eligibility status this year. So that's kind of a unique scenario for us that we continue to try to work through and make the best possible decisions we think we can come up with the state on that particular scenario. And then lastly, something you have heard about in the past, but it's becoming real, and so we wanted to talk about it. We've received some accolades from the AIB in general for our work on Career Ladder, and many of those details already. One of the things we had talked about during and coming out of the pandemic was that as our staffing had changed, as our hiring had changed, as we were bringing on more and newer teachers, and at one time an elevated amount of conditionally certified teachers, we suddenly realized that this is one of those places where being so lean as a school system comes with some issues when your demographic shifts in such a way, and that we really did not have kind of the comprehensive or fully robust mentoring induction program that another school system might have, and we wanted to try to figure out a way that we could possibly put something in place sooner than later, but ultimately this would fit into the Career Ladder design of Blueprint in the long term anyway. And so this is an area where we had reached out and partnered with Dr. Grasmick, the presidential scholar at Towson University, to see if there was a way where we could design a program where Towson would become the hiring agency for mentors and provide those mentors in Carroll County Public Schools for new teachers going through the period of induction, that we could get some immediate resource, or at least in the near term, some supporting resources to those new teachers going through induction, but ultimately we could take that work, factor it into our local committee on Career Ladder development, and eventually those roles and responsibilities of teacher mentors for teachers in induction would become formalized in the career ladder framework over time. So it's been a year in initial design. I'm happy to tell you that Towson University has just posted that mentor position for the next school year here. It is available for folks to apply for. It's a Towson position and job listing, but we're also reposting it or sharing their link. And for anyone who might be watching who is perhaps a retiree here or from a neighboring school system or state who might be interested in some hours per month mentoring new teachers going through induction, it would be an excellent opportunity for some folks to consider, and we would certainly look forward to their applications. And with that, I will pause for any discussion or questions.
Ms. Zimmer?
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. My question has to do with the community school aspect of the presentation. So my question is, if a school would make it to the second tier, so they would get that second part of the grant, and you said services would be provided potentially based off of the needs assessment. What types of services are you referring to?
They could be medical services, direct medical services. So there are models, we have fewer community schools than most systems in Maryland, and so there are other systems that have tons of community schools, and I've had them for the full time of the blueprint so far. So it varies because it should be a community-specific needs assessment, but it could be medical services. So for instance, there are systems around us who have community schools where they have a dentist who comes into the school to provide service to families or students whose families have that need, or it could be some forms of medical services. It could be other types of what we call wraparound services. So it could be community resources, resources in the broader community beyond the walls of CCPS that could provide support or help to certain families in need. It could be mental health services. It could be other types of student behavioral support services, all of those things. And so I don't know that there's a standard template, but there's sort of some guidance on what the needs assessment would look like. And we certainly are able to look at the experience of other systems by the time even we got to Taneytown. And so there's some continuum across the state of what that would look like, but there's no prescribed, it needs to be this. It needs to be a needs assessment for the students and the families in that community. The personnel grant in the early years pays for the person to do that assessment, and if possible, maybe a clinical, like a nurse, a medical clinician, and then the per pupil grant, the second grant. And the first one doesn't go away. That would sustain. The second grant adds to that. That is in theory to pay for those services. So if the needs assessment came up with X, Y, Z, you would prioritize those, and when the per pupil grant shows up, you start to fund those services into the school.
So a follow-up question to that would be, if we did have a middle or high school, let's say Gateway, that became a community school, would there ever be scenarios where students would be seeing medical professionals without their parents' consent?
I don't think so. And Nick can get up. I also, like the way I said it, I only described a scenario where a dentist would come into the school. That can happen, but it also doesn't need to be that it's in the school. That the connection can be to get the families there in the community.
And it could be things that are offered after school hours as well too, but we would not engage in anything that a parent wouldn't consent to in that arena. We are in the process of wrapping up the needs assessment. We still don't know what the dollar amounts would be on the kind of the second part of the grant for Taneytown. So, obviously we've identified needs, but we'll start to prioritize those based upon what the funding is available, and then the availability of the service providers to be able to do that too, because we might have a wish to do something around dental health, but if we can't find a provider that would be willing to do that. My sense is, though, from other systems that have been on this journey a little bit longer than we have, that there is interest and availability from providers to be able to provide the services. So we're still in the early stages of kind of finishing up what those needs are, and then being able to say, all right, what is the funding that's available to us, and then what are we going to then do? But we'll make sure that we communicate well with our community and our families. That's the whole spirit behind this, so they'll know what's available when we start moving forward.
Great, thank you so much.
Dr. Dorsey?
I just wanted to add that I've heard some feedback from some colleagues from other systems, and they've had all positive things to say about their community schools and the amount of services that can be provided to families, and even linking it with student achievement rising as well.
Yes, ma'am. And I guess to give some credit where credit's due to the state, this is a program that is state funded. There is not a local share here. It is a grant from the state.
Thank you. I know there has been some concern within the communities ever since this was proposed in Blueprint regarding the community school. And I want parents to understand that we're talking areas that are of poverty, more than likely. These are students who it's very difficult for them to get to the dentist. It's difficult for them to have access to medical care. And parents have to give permission for these things. It's not, the doctor goes in and removes a student out of a classroom. Everything is done with a parent's consent. And as Dr. Dorsey said, it very well can help with student achievement too, because they talk about the health of a child does help with the betterment of their grades and their performance in school. So I do want to make sure the community is aware of that. All right, any other questions, comments? Okay, next one is 4J, Personnel Transaction Report. Dr. McCabe.
The summer months are when I make assignment changes throughout the school system. Each month, we bring this report so that I can inform the board of those new assignments. Typically, the assignments are made to balance leadership teams and to provide new and different leadership opportunities to staff. So this month, first we have Nina Green Watts, currently the assistant principal at Winfield Elementary, to assistant principal at Freedom Elementary. Next, Cynthia Taylor, assistant principal at Freedom Elementary, to assistant principal at Manchester Elementary. Jeffrey Hopkins, assistant principal at Westminster West Middle, to assistant principal at Sykesville Middle. And finally, Michael Passon, assistant principal at Sykesville Middle, to assistant principal at North Carroll Middle. Any questions?
Ms. Zimmer? No. All right. Okay. All right. So we will now move on to public participation. Mr. Whistler.
Thank you, Madam President. To have an orderly presentation of comments by the public, the following guidelines apply. Speakers with a connection to CCPS will be allowed to address the board for the allotted 3 minutes. Only those speakers that have registered online and have been notified by the Communications Department will be permitted to speak. Priority will be given to those students that are addressing the board about an item on the current agenda. Citizens not appearing in person for public comment can write to the board through email or the U.S. mail. Public participation is not intended to be a question and answer session. However, if citizens have specific questions, the superintendent will assign a staff member to make contact during the board meeting to arrange a time to respond to questions. The superintendent and board reserve the right to correct misinformation presented as factual after the conclusion of the public participation period. Statements to the board should relate to a recent agenda item, an agenda item that is expected to appear in the future, or a matter of general policy over which the board has authority. Personnel matters, pending appeals, the actions or statements of individual staff, or items related to employee negotiations are not appropriate topics and may not be discussed. The board has scheduled time in the agenda for public participation at approximately 5:15 p.m. The board reserves the right to limit the number of speakers on a particular topic so that all topics can be addressed. Additionally, the board retains the discretion to allow additional speakers as it deems appropriate. The board is allowing no more than an hour for public participation. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less. All comments should be directed to the board members at the dais. Citizens may only address the board with their individual comments. Citizens cannot stand in for another person or group and read their comments. When the allotted time expires, the speaker is permitted to complete a sentence. Citizens may leave any handouts for board members at the table at the back of the boardroom. Please do not approach the dais. Additionally, the public may not display signs or posters during the board meeting. In lieu of signs, or if you are unable to complete your comments in the allotted time, individuals are encouraged to submit remarks to the board in writing. Those seated in the audience are asked to be respectful of the speaker and refrain from commenting to the speaker or to the board members. This evening we have 4 speakers. The first is Danielle Gassaway. Did I say that correctly? Yes. Yep, you may approach, please. Nice to have you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. I don't know what you wanted to, but anyway, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for selecting me. All right, we don't have a lot of time. So I'm in uniform, and so I'm supportive of uniforms. And I know that getting ready for school, especially for parents, is like a really big deal. And what are we going to wear today? And is this even clean? And I just think that it would help eliminate decision fatigue. I also wrote down a few key points, but I'm a little bit nervous, so let me just hurry up. So I know that we are all in pursuit of excellence and an orderly environment, and there's nothing more orderly or professional or presentable than a well-put-together uniform. Majority of us here are adhering to a dress code of some sort, and it looks good. And so when we're in front of others, whether the children are, in band or just in public, being able to easily identify which grade level this child is in or which school this child belongs to could really be helpful, especially when doing school outings. When we talk about the monies that are being allotted for Title I schools, such as Tawnytown Elementary, we're looking at having educational enrichment for children who have behavioral issues, maybe from being overstimulated or not being stimulated enough. So when you're out in these environments, such as the Science Center, or there's a few others that I spoke to the school, but I can't really think of it offhand because I didn't write it down and I'm a little bit nervous. It's just something to take into consideration, also fostering unity. And you can't pick on me for what I'm wearing because you're wearing the same thing. I know that bullying is a really big thing and we're trying to prevent that, but also evening the playing field, especially when you're dealing with people who possibly are from low-income families. I know when I come from Prince George's County, my child wore uniforms to public school, and they also offered clothing drives. That was something that was really beneficial for people who couldn't afford it. Mental health is a big deal, and it comes from the stress of not feeling like you fit in. And so this will give everyone an opportunity to say, okay, you know what? I know I'm wearing the right thing today, so I can at least step out the house with that. And that being said, thank you for your time. Okay. Sorry, I don't want to take up.
Thank you. You didn't seem nervous at all. That's a great job.
So sorry. Okay, but let me just go ahead and get it. Oops. Oh, is this a Ticonderoga? That's a really good pencil. Oh.
There you go.
Mine is right here. Okay, please excuse me.
Thank you. Hope you
all.
come back again. Our next speaker is Chris Dembski. Is Chris in the room? Our next speaker is Mr. Gary Foote, who I believe is retiring. We're sad to see you go.
Good evening, board members. Another graduation season is ending. As the irrational exuberance starts to fade, it makes sense to make an honest account of where we stand. To be sure, many of these facts are sobering, but they need to be considered. American colleges and universities graduated yet another bumper crop of overqualified hotel managers. Scientists, engineers, mathematicians, technicians, medical professionals, not so much. While we have been engaged in a lively debate concerning who qualifies to play for women's varsity sports teams, China has been producing well over 3 million STEM graduates. If you want to build things and move forward, there is no such thing as too many engineers. We have spent the last few years harassing many of these qualified professionals and encouraging them to go elsewhere. It seems as if the only thing we can get built is another sports stadium. 40% of the students who enter higher learning will not graduate. Many will be left with massive debt and few skills that they can translate into employment. Their failure is our failure. We seem to have given up on developing a rational educational policy that would address what students really need. What is our agenda for learning? And when are we going to discuss it? At least we have protected yet another graduating class from the horrors of Judy Blume. Reading and math scores are the lowest they have been in decades. We know our students suffer from overexposure to screens and social media, but we do nothing to face these facts. How many students did you shake hands with last week who missed over 50 days in their senior year? How many could not read a medium-length newspaper article and discuss the main idea? How many could not take a basic math word problem and translate it into proper algebraic notation? Maybe it's time to ask, even if we don't like the answers. And how many students got a diploma from CCPS who could speak Chinese? How many have even tried to study it? The answer, of course, is zero. We're very close to it. Our chief rival in the 21st century, and we don't even bother to try to understand their language? Let's be clear, the Chinese are not making that mistake. We used to strive to do great things, not because they were easy, but because they were hard. Now, that only seems to happen on an athletic field. This is also the end of the county budget season. We must conclude. This is an awful lot of money being spent to achieve mediocre results. We can and must do better, and the place to start is to at least have some difficult conversations.
Thank you, Mr. Foote. Our last speaker of the evening is Lisa Maisano.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Lisa Massano, and I am with the Carroll Education Coalition. As we understand it, the lower growth projection for enrollment puts state funding for the Freedom Elementary and Sykesville Middle additions in jeopardy. The necessity of both projects is being questioned because of the potential Blueprint school-level staffing changes. If these projects no longer qualify for state funds, we are concerned that they could be canceled. Enrollment growth is not the only reason why facilities need funding. Aging buildings require attention even if enrollment is flat and state funds are not available. This year presents an opportunity as the county is currently revising the 10-year master plan. At the April Planning and Zoning meeting, county staff shared feedback collected from community members. The main points included: first, maintaining and improving schools was a community priority. Second, investing in schools and infrastructure are essential to promoting economic growth. And third, as schools continue to age over the next decade, additional revenue will need to be identified to modernize school buildings that will exceed their useful lives. During this year's budget discussions, the commissioners again heard from county staff regarding the pace of school modernizations. With an assumption that the 40 schools in our system have a lifespan of 80 years, the county would have to address one school every other year. That has not happened. County employees, the community, and CCPS are all saying the same thing. We need prudent planning to properly maintain and modernize our school buildings so we don't keep falling farther behind. Being responsible requires demonstrating good stewardship, not only of the school system's finances, but also the school system's properties. Maintaining the buildings and properties is essential so we do not reach a crisis point. We cannot lose sight of the importance of the physical condition of our schools because we have been so focused on another crisis. There are many aging schools in our county in need of modernizations in addition to routine roof and HVAC replacements, yet they have not been a priority of the county. We urge you to push harder on the county to include significant school modernizations on a timely schedule in the long-term master plan of the county. We will continue voicing this message to the Planning and Zoning Commission and to the commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you. we've not done anything for maintenance.
I would just.
All right. Next, we have employee groups.
Jasmine, I would like to welcome you here. Good to see you. By the agenda, I don't think you picked a great meeting to start on because this is a long one. And Ms. Zimmer, it's funny you mentioned Ms. Reisdorf. I was department chair at Winters Mill when she was hired, so I interviewed her when she first came over to CCPS from teaching years of private school. So I'm glad she's going to go enjoy retirement now. Good evening. I'm Celeste Jordan, President of Carroll County Education Association. It is June and another school year is winding down. Students are looking forward to a little bit of freedom from the daily grind of school. I hope the students of Carroll County take the time to read this summer. All reading counts, whether it is fiction or nonfiction, graphic novels, comic books, magazines, or the back of a cereal box, which was a childhood favorite of mine. If a person reads just 15 minutes a day over summer break, they will read approximately 17.5 hours. That's the equivalent to 8 to 10 chapter books. For adults, that would be about 3 to 5 average length novels. Why is reading during the summer, even for such a short time each day, so important? Is because it prevents the summer slide, when students can lose 1 to 3 months of reading skills by not practicing them. Reading builds vocabulary, focus, and concentration. A quiet 15-minute reading break helps to limit screen time, regulate emotions, create structure in an unstructured time of year, and I hope all students make good choices about reading this summer, and also safe choices, especially to the graduates who are about to leave. Now to the educators of Carroll County. I want to take a moment to say something that I think you may need to hear. As educators, we are wired to go above and beyond. We do it without being asked. We do it when no one notices. And far too often, we do it at a cost and not just a financial cost. It is so easy to fall in the trap of thinking that we must give more, our time, our energy, our paychecks, just to keep the system running. But that is not sustainable. The truth is, your students need you, but more importantly, so does your family. I hope this summer you take the time to reflect on your job and make the necessary changes to have a better work-life balance in the coming school year. Don't miss the game, the concert, the dinner, or the downtime because you were grading papers into the night. Don't let your own milestones and moments be swallowed by the endless extras of this job. You are allowed a life beyond the walls of the classroom. You are entitled to it, and you deserve it. I also want you to stop spending your own money to make up for what the system won't fund. The supplies needed by our students should not be your burden. You are not a fundraiser. You are not a donor. You are a public servant. As summer break begins, I hope you'll remember, you do not owe anyone a Pinterest classroom this fall. You don't need to say yes to all the volunteer opportunities presented. Your time is valuable. Your boundaries are valid. Your joy and mental health are more important than your lesson plans. And your worth does not depend on how many hours you stayed late or how much you spent out of pocket. We are here to give our best, but not our everything. You do not have to set yourself on fire to keep the building warm. I hope all educators make good choices this summer.
Good evening, Superintendent McCabe and members of the Board of Education. And a special welcome to Jasmina. We look forward to hearing more from you in the future. I'm Cindy Porter, a special education paraprofessional and president of CASE, representing assistants, paraprofessionals, and clericals working in our school system. There's a myriad of emotions that comes with the end of school each year, and this year is no different. Those of us who work in education know there is much more to the end of a school year than meets the eye. While there is an anxious anticipation of summer break for some, we also have students who don't look forward to that break because of the relational connections they develop with staff and others when they are in school. Expectations on educators have also increased as the years progress, and educators are feeling it more than ever this year. Stress is very real and has substantial impact, and that is something that many outside of our school buildings don't understand. Our school system and its educators also face significant challenges this year with budgetary and blueprint compliance issues. In the end, and by everyone working together, we rose to meet those challenges, but those challenges are not going away. One of the most important takeaways from this year is the importance of everyone to gain better understanding of our school system, the employees who work in it, and the jobs those employees perform, as well as the need to stay involved in what is being asked of our school system and others across our state. This year proved that it does take a village to help us get where we need to be. I want to express how proud I am to be the president of the CASE bargaining unit and want to express my gratitude to the entire bargaining unit for the hard work that our members do every day for the benefit of our students. Carroll County is fortunate to have such caring and dedicated education support professionals, and it is my hope that they all have an opportunity to find some time to rest and rejuvenate this summer. I also want to extend gratitude to members of the CCEA bargaining unit and the other staff members in our county. It is my sincere hope that our community members are beginning to get a glimpse of how hard we all work on behalf of the students we serve. May we all get a chance to take a deep breath, exhale, and enjoy some time to refuel, because it will be time to begin again before we know it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are now going to move on to action items. The first one is 6A, approval of awarded bids. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dr. Malvo,
I'll second it.
second by Dr. Dorsey. Dr. McCabe.
So this evening, there are 14 items on the award of bids. I'll go through each one by number, and then you'll have an opportunity to ask any questions you may have. The first is the relocation of one portable classroom building from the Career and Tech Center to Westminster Elementary, and the relocation of an existing portable at Westminster Elementary School. Second, architectural and engineering design services for the Northwest Middle School HVAC system. Third, facilities management software, and this is the annual contract for our facilities management software. Fourth, we've got the bleacher and grandstand annual inspection services. Fifth, we have fire alarm and security. This is to convert the fire monitoring lines to fiber from traditional lines. Sixth, we have the sprinkler pipe annual inspection services. 7, preventative maintenance service contract to our boilers, chillers, and cooling towers, as well as the monitoring system. 8th, plant maintenance and operations uniforms. This is the annual contract for operations and maintenance employees' uniforms. 9th, we've got the wood carpet mulch for replenishment of playgrounds across our school system. 10th, school and office furniture, and this is the annual buying guide for office furniture as needed. 11th, the CCPN consulting and technical services and project management and network operations management services. These last 4 items are the annual contracts we bring to purchase technology hardware and services for the school system. This first one is for technical services from Skyline Technologies through the Carroll County Public Network, which supports our IT and security infrastructure. Number 12, the MEEC hardware, software, licensing, and services, and this is the consortium contract for network software and licenses. And then we have the MHEC Dell installation, the consortium contract we use for technology products and their installation. And finally, data, telephone, and cabling. And this is the annual contract for maintaining and servicing our telecommunications. Questions?
Mr. Whistler, and then I'll go down to the other board
Hi,
members.
thank you. Notice for the first one, there was no bid by a second vendor. I mean, is this a sole source contract? Are we able to get multiple bids to?
Not a sole source, but there was only one responding bidder. So it was bid, there was just one response. And this is work that has increasingly been hard to find bidders for.
I'm just curious if this figure falls in line with what we've seen with other portable movements? Is
It's
it about the same?
consistent. It has gotten to that level over the past decade of costing a lot of money to move a relocatable classroom, particularly when there's electricity and plumbing involved in it.
Okay, yeah, and I noticed for all the other items, there doesn't seem to be multiple bids, or it just doesn't seem to be, at least, through number 8, number 7, I guess. Do we do multiple bid efforts and we try to find the best vendor? Like, I only see one price. Were there multiple vendors for say, steps 2 and 3 and items 2, 3, and 4? And
Well, we do different approaches. Sometimes we do pure bids with multiple vendors, which would be like item 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are all what I call piggyback bids, but they're not. That's not the best term for that.
are they like firm fixed price,
Yeah.
fee for service kinds of things?
Yeah, they're, we can piggyback for efficiency's sake off of other state contracts or
Okay.
consortium contracts, and so we often do that as well, and that's what those reflect.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that we're getting the lowest possible, bids and spending the least amount of money with competitive bidding. And then for items, again, I'm assuming like items 11, 12, 13, and 14, those are fee-for-service kinds of things. And
Yeah, and those are the best deals we've been able to find over a long period of time. So like the first one, CCPN, that's a consortia of us and the government and the library and the college, I'm missing no one. And so we've been able to do some group pricing there on those services by, kind of building to scale across all 4 agencies. And then, like Meek and Impact are massive state consortia contract for Meek, I think, for licensing, and Impact for more of hardware.
Right, I'm just trying to make sure that we're spending, as least as possible and inviting many competitive bids as possible. And maybe that's something in our board retreat, we can talk about the procurement process, and maybe that could be something we add into our discussion. Again, we're entering a period of time here with Blueprint where we've got to try to scrutinize every penny we spend and try to make sure that we're getting goods and services that meet the standard and what we need, but at the same time, we're trying to invite in as many people as possible to do competitive bidding and keep the prices down for the taxpayer as much as possible.
Yeah, that's fine. We could do it in the retreat, or we could talk about it here in the future. So on the back end, before it ever gets to a public action, our purchasing department is looking at those options and determining what we think is the best and most efficient way to go. And then that's why you'll see at different times, some things are purely bid on the street, some things are purchased through piggyback awards, other methods. But
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Dr. Dorsey.
My question was on number 1 as well. I'm just wondering about the existing portable at Westminster Elementary. We're just sort of moving it from one spot to another spot. I think we had talked about that at one point.
Yes, ma'am.
Concerning instrumental music and all that.
There's a good bit of code that you wouldn't believe that goes into where you can place them and how you can place them, especially when you're bringing another one on site. And Mr. Marks is gone at this point, but Mr. Marks, as our supervisor, has to, given our resources, he handles all of the relocatable placement and work. So yeah, he probably has talked about that in the past.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, I call for the vote, and we're just going to vote straight across the board on all of it. Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Next, and after the motion, I wanted to say something real quick on this, on 6B. Approval of the 2025 to 2034 Education Facility Master Plan. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dr. Dorsey.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Whistler. Dr. McCabe, and then I'll say something.
In May, we brought the draft EFMP for board discussion, and it was then released for public review and comment. We did receive some public comments, most of which were in support of the Freedom and Sykesville additions. The EFMP is a required annual document that must be submitted each year to the state IAC. It is a tool used for prioritization of our CIP projects requests each October when you vote on your capital budget. And this actually goes along with one of the public comments. Our CIP projects go out many, many, many years, and we have planned renovations and updates to our schools. And much of that, though, is then determined by how much funding we receive to do those renovations and changes. As in May, the cover sheet notes sections of the EFMP with substantive changes, and these include enrollment projections. The new enrollment projections expect less enrollment growth than the previous two sets of projections. Within our standard methodology, we have applied 2-year average cohort succession ratios compared to a 4 or a 5-year average based on record low permits in FY 24 and 25, and a significant drop in population gains from net migration this year. The Freedom and Sykesville additions are another element. New enrollment projections do impact the possibility of state funding for both projects. The state looks at the enrollment projections and capacity of adjacent schools when determining a project's eligible enrollment number. Adjacent schools have seen fewer actual students than projected showing up over the past 2 years. And more capacity is projected in the region to accommodate the overcrowding at these 2 schools. So the potential impact of school-level staffing changes related to blueprint fiscal compliance remain unclear, and as we now work on a revised plan with the AIB. Staffing impacts the class size as much as enrollment. And finally, final compliance plan is pending the work with the AIB and their consultants, APA. Questions?
Just to kind of mirror off of what you said, Dr. McCabe, the facilities, there's a schedule for them, and they are evaluated every year. They're given a score. So I don't understand why there's some in the public making statements that, we're not doing the roofs and the HVACs, because we are. I went through a time where there was not things done when I was, as a parent of very young children at the time, but as long as I've been here, and I believe even Mrs. Savigny was a big part of getting this going too, was the scoring and having our facilities checked yearly. I've even seen where a school had maybe been further down the list, but then, it goes up in the score and it goes up into the priority and vice versa. So our facilities are being looked at. They are being examined. They are, given priority of when the need is there. So I don't want the community to say that we're not fixing our schools and we're not repairing our schools and we're not trying to make sure we're doing what we need to do, because we also need to make sure that the state's contributing as well. So I just wanted to make sure I said something regarding that, because that does kind of upset me a little bit. Mr. Whistler.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. And again, I really encourage folks to take a deep dive into Section 6 of the EFMP, specifically Section 6, page 7. That is what I use to key us in on where we should spend maintenance dollars. It's a combined assessment. It gives you the physical assessment score, and it really cues us in as to which facilities around the county need more attention before others. So again, Section 6, especially page 7, are major priorities that I've heard us talk about in the past relate to Liberty High School and the modernization at Liberty. We've always talked a lot about Willie Winchester, right, Dr. Dorsey, and the need there. So I want the public to understand that there is a rhyme or reason, at least I see from my perspective, on where we spend our maintenance dollars, our capital dollars. And I'm really appreciative of of the staff that we have here that help us make those determinations from an empirical perspective on where to put money first before others. So, but again, section 6, page 7, and the following pages really give you a good idea of at least where the staff is keying their interest on what schools we should modernize and fix before others. So I hope that's helpful for the public.
I think Dr. Malvo was first and then Dr. Dorsey.
Just wanted to look at this section on staffing and staffing analysis here. The section in terms of class sizes and classes over 30, obviously is a major concern in the impact of instructional delivery when we have 30 or more students in a classroom. I just wonder if, maybe it's comparing apples and oranges, I don't know, but I'm looking at some of the numbers here, and on average at the elementary school level, they have 23.3 students per class, and yet for 30 or more students, there are 6 classes. And in the high school, they have a smaller average of students per class size is 22.9, yet for 30 students or over, it's 124 classrooms. So I'm wondering why there's that great difference in terms of, and maybe because it's elementary or high, I don't know, but why do we have 124 classes with 30 or more compared to 6 at the elementary that have less students overall?
So I'll start by answering that question, and then I'll call on Mr. Shockney to add any details that need to be added. But basically, the schedule at elementary, middle, and high school is made in different ways. So at the high school level, the schedule is basically made based on what courses students sign up for. So you might have a course where only 15 students have signed up for that course. And so because of that, you may have a class size of 15 there. Whereas in elementary school, a third grader doesn't have the choice. They have to sign up for third grade. Yeah. So, that's really the big difference is once they hit high school, while they have some things they have to take, much of the high school schedule is driven by what students sign up to take versus elementary and middle where, if you're in second grade, you take second grade, and everybody gets divided pretty evenly into those classrooms. Anything to add, Mr.
Dr.
Shockney?
McCabe, you said it perfectly. The only thing I'll add is at the high school level in particular, we have a pretty robust program of studies. We offer a wide variety of courses and coursework for our students, and that is a factor in that as well, too. But Dr. McCabe said it perfectly.
Dr. Dorsey, did you have any questions?
I don't have a question. I was just going to point out, historically, I think they've done a nice job of sharing what has been done at the facilities level as far as studying our school facilities, our buildings, taking a look at, the functional assessment of the buildings, even back in the late 90s, 2006, 2007. So again, historically, it's been done. And, I thank Mr. Whistler for, pointing out the information that's shared on 6-7. But I just find this whole document, pretty fascinating. I mean, you can just take a look at every building that we have in the facility, the year that it was built, the years that it may have received renovations or modernizations. I mean, it is just so thorough that I think I'm going to have to bookmark this in a special place so that I can have it to refer to often. But thanks for sharing it.
I've always had a love-hate relationship with this document, going back to my Charles Carroll days. So,
well, I think we remember the year that we had our Mr. Kane just go over it almost page by page for us, and all those numbers, all the enrollment figures. So again, it's just a lot of information here, and even just the updated demographics and the information concerning our county and our community. So again, it's just it's a wealth of information here.
Dr. Malvo, do you have another question?
Yeah, I have another question. Maybe if this could be clarified, in terms of the Carroll County Public Schools, there's an analysis and a chart here. Page 4-18, section, got a lot of sections. It's right after assumptions, secondary capacity, high schools, state-rated capacity. But let's see, section it's 4-18. On the chart, what could you explain to us hotspot, that category? There's 2 checked off for hotspot. I'm not sure I understood what the hotspot.
Yeah, so this chart actually goes back to before I started here in 2005. So this chart, I'm not sure when it started. It's really unchanged other than we've added a couple new schools. But the purpose of the chart is to tell the Maryland Department of Planning if a school's in a growth area, in a priority funding area, and a non-growth area. But there are these other 2 columns, hotspot and targeted for revitalization. Prior to my time, there was a state program called the Hotspot Communities, which was a crime prevention program. Communities were identified by local officials. I believe every county got to pick a community. And basically that community was eligible for funds to help either hire additional police officers or use the funds to do neighborhood watches and things. I believe that program actually is no longer, based on my research online, they're not doing that program anymore. I actually believe I can take that column out. I just have to double check with our state staff that review the document, but.
So the 2 schools that are checked off as hotspots, just ignore that?
Yeah, it's Tawnytown Elementary and Northwest. It basically means that Tawnytown was, back 20-some years ago, was identified as the community in Carroll County that was eligible for those funds. But okay. Like I said, I don't believe that's the case anymore. That program, I believe, is long gone.
Thanks for the clarification.
All right, any other questions? Yep. All right, I'll call to the vote. All those in favor of passing the facility master plan, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, next we have the approval of textbook and instructional materials. Dr. McCabe. Oh, sorry. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
I just want to move along. Moved by Dr. Malvo, and a second?
I'll second it.
And a second by Dr. Dorsey. Now, Dr. McCabe.
This action item is for your approval of instructional materials and textbooks that have gone through the review process. New materials are vetted through the Curriculum Council and are also available for the public to review prior to eventually coming to the board for approval. These materials for approval this evening have been through the review process, including the public component of review during the month of May. These materials were brought for board discussion in March following the standard process. Tonight, they return for your approval. Mr. Warnick is here for any questions or discussion.
All right, board members, any comments or questions? Mr. Whistler.
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I appreciate the committee's recommendation to pull some of these books, and again, I endorse that. I checked out every single item on the list, and so again, those marked with triple asterisks, those will not be added to our curriculum list, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
They're not being recommended at this time.
Yeah, some of them are just, wow. I'm not even sure how they made the list, but they did. I was a little troubled with the first one as well, Bloodchild. I actually read it, and again, a real weird book. Alien domination, surrogacy, and impregnating humans, and it's just really strange. But I don't know if any of my other colleagues had a chance to review and found anything weird about it, but I struggled on whether or not we should remove that one as well. So I don't know if anybody had any other comments or concerns about that book.
Board members? Dr. Dorsey?
Well, I did read, parts of it. I can't say that I read the whole thing. But again, I think what was helpful for me were like the author's notes at the ending of each novel, because again, it's 5 separate novels. So just looking at that ending piece, and because I didn't even understand what was going on initially as I started reading, and it wasn't until I got to the author's note that I realized what was going on. So I don't know, I thought, okay, I see that it is recommended was it for the 10th grade for this one?
That's correct. It's 10th grade. They're short stories.
Right.
Teachers may choose to use any of them. They wouldn't read the entire book. They would use selected stories based on the literature and the skills that the author possesses or uses within each story that they choose. And then what was really liked about the book was that, again, the author's notes in the, behind each story of why it was written and the components of it that helps understand the literary understanding of the text.
I should have read the author's note at the beginning rather than at the end of the novel. So I understand what you were saying initially concerning that one, Mr. Whistler.
Yeah, I mean, it just had a really disturbing birth process. It had descriptions. I mean, it wasn't graphic or explicit, so it didn't violate our policy, but just description of a sexual assault and violence, both physical and psychological. And I even did some research. The author's publisher even recommends that this book receive parental permission before signing and reading. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but the publisher actually recommended that. So again, I just wanted to raise it as a caution, as a red flag, and I wanted to get the thoughts of my colleagues before if we should be removing that, or if it's fine and good to go. So.
And it's not that every teacher of 10th graders would be using this in the class. It would be there as an option if they would choose to use
Correct.
any of the novels in that book.
Correct. All of the books that go through within high school, there are selections, and the teacher can use either part of it or all of it. Sometimes it's also up to the actual student to read, because they read independently and then may do a project. So it would really be up to the teacher and the student to choose sections of the book. Again, it wouldn't be like elementary school reading the entire anthology or the entire text. It would be parts of it that they choose to, if the teacher even has it as one of the selections of the books within the class.
And I know that's one of the things we had talked about for future council meetings for the supervisors, especially of the English texts or novels that are being put up for review. If they could just share a blurb, at the council meeting prior to giving us the opportunity to read the books, which would give us an idea of their take on, what the novel has to offer and how they see a teacher making use of the novel in the classroom. And again, we know that even at the elementary level, literature does a lot for us. I mean, we can just pull out a lot of lessons based on the characters in the literature and that kind of thing. So again, I think that will be helpful in the future, and I know you've been certainly very open to that.
We plan to bring that back. We had it, in the past when we started it, and then this year.
Time got away, I think.
That's exactly what happened. And we didn't have, usually we have the teachers who actually bring these books up, do a little video about the book and how it would support class instruction, and we just didn't do it this year, but I plan to bring that back next year for the English books.
Ms. Zimmer?
Yeah, I prepared some remarks. I completely understand why Mr. Whistler brought this up. The appropriateness of the book Blood Child by Octavia Butler, I understand why it's a question whether it's appropriate for high schoolers. It's a science fiction collection, complete with aliens, bugs, and unsettling scenarios that explore mature themes with depth and nuance. Like Mr. Whistler had said, there are those very mature themes in the book. After reading the book cover to cover, I found that once the initial shock of the sci-fi elements settle, each story reveals thoughtful ethical dilemmas and philosophical questions presented in a way that I felt were both age-appropriate and intellectually engaging. The book also offers Like was said, the book offer also has a rich literary value enhanced by the author's note at the end of each of the 9 stories, which provide meaningful insight into the author's motives and creative process. So like Dr. Dorsey said, I thought that brought huge value to the table. And for those reasons, I will vote in line with the Curriculum Council to approve this text for inclusion to 10th grade. But I understand why the conversation is being had.
All right. I guess we'll go ahead and call for the vote.
Dr.
Everyone, Dr. Malvo?
Not a lot to add, but just if I had more opportunity to review all these books, it's a large list of books and so forth. I just would like more time or just those titles to be announced sooner so I could read through those all. And so it's hard
Well,
to.
we were given this last month
Yeah.
to review.
Yeah, so this, I don't feel like I'm in a place to make a strong decision on that, but
So you're going to recuse yourself from the vote?
yes.
Okay. All right. So I guess we're just going to vote on this then, as is? Okay. All right, so I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying.
So just a minute. I think you need to vote first on whether or not to include.
The other one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Rothschild.
Mr. Whistler, did you want to make? a
Yeah,
motion
I
tonight?
don't intend to make an amendment to the original motion. I just wanted to have a discussion about it, so I appreciate that. But again, there doesn't appear to be, but I just wanted to voice my concerns about it, so I appreciate the opportunity to comment.
Okay.
Yeah, then they're just voting
Yeah.
as.
Yeah,
Just vote.
so I call the question.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
good.
Would-
And
oh,
and
just a second.
Let me add, Dr. Malvo, I think you meant to say that you're abstaining, not
Yeah.
okay, abstaining, sorry.
Okay,
Yeah. Dr. Dorsey?
but I have a question too concerning that, Mr. O'Meara. He's the one who put the motion on the floor.
I didn't make a motion.
No, I made a motion.
Greg, yes, he did. For the approval of textbooks and instructional materials? Isn't
Right,
that what
yeah.
we're doing?
Oh, yeah.
Greg put the motion on the floor and I seconded it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Now
I
he's-
didn't submit a motion to amend.
I know you
No,
didn't.
but-
I'm sorry. I'm going back to our original motion that's on the floor. If he's abstaining,
Then we
how
have
can he
to,
put the, but he put the motion on the floor that we accept him. Mhm.
Is that okay?
I mean, that's,
Or do we have to get a new motion and second?
be careful. Go ahead and make a new motion.
Let's make-
okay, so let's make a new motion for the approval of 6C.
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Okay, so Dr. Dorsey, and then a second will be Ms. Zimmer. Okay. All right, so that's the motion for that, and now we need to call it to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those who abstain or no, and that'd be Dr. Malvo. Okay. All right, so it's 4-1. Okay. And I think it's, Mr. Warnick, I think it's good to know, like, I know a lot of times our teachers do a syllabus as well, so they let the parents know this is what we could be potentially looking at and reading. And Mr. Whistler, I know we had a brief discussion earlier. I think it's also good for the community to know that this isn't any banning or approving or denying of materials in our, this is curriculum that is used in our classrooms. So I hope the community understands that too, so that there's not misinformation out there in la la land of Facebook or Twitter or whatever. All right.
Mrs. Battaglia?
Yes.
I think you said it was 4-1. It's actually 4-0 with one abstain.
Okay. 4-0. All right. And he was saying, okay. Thank you, Mr. Emili. All right. Next one is 6D, approval of appointments. Do I have a Dr. You almost did. Mr. Whistler
I'll second it.
and Dr. Dorsey was the second. Dr. McCabe.
This evening, I have one appointment for your approval. That's Michael Heller, a school psychologist in Baltimore County Public Schools to a school psychologist in student services.
Comments, questions? All right, I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Passes unanimously. Next one is 6E, approval of personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Dorsey. Second. Second by Mr. Whistler. Dr. McCabe.
This is the monthly report of personnel actions, and this month we have 3 new hires, 8 increases, and 5 decreases. Any questions?
Comments, questions? All right, I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Passes unanimously. Next, we have 6F, approval of ratification of CCEA contract. And we're doing 6G at the same time?
We'll do them
Let's
separately.
do them separately. Okay, all right. Dr. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Dorsey. And second by Dr. Malvo.
We do have 2 contracts this evening to ratify. We're going to focus on the ratification of the CCEA contract first. This past year, the board's negotiation team was engaged with the team from CCEA. A tentative agreement was achieved on May 19th, which must then be ratified by CCEA and the board. We have been informed that CCEA has ratified the agreement, and now we bring it to the board for approval. This is a good achievement for tonight, and we're very happy to be at this place with CCEA.
Comments, questions? All right, I call for the vote. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Passes unanimously. The next item is 6G, approval of ratification of a SAPSCO contract.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Wessler.
I'll second it.
and a second by Dr. Dorsey.
Likewise, the board's team also negotiated this year with the team from APSASCO, which is our administrators and supervisors unit, and a tentative agreement was reached on May 20th, and it has been ratified by APSASCO and now comes for your approval.
All right. Any comments or questions? Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Passes unanimously. And I have a brief statement I wanted to read regarding this. So now that we have ratified the master agreements, I do want to make a brief statement, especially to our employees. This past year has been very stressful. We had to work through the blueprint fiscal compliance process before receiving the AIB waiver. We also had to get through our local budget challenges before the commissioners were able to step up and fund us in an additional level. I recognize that these events have been stressful for our organization and our employees. The best news is that the commissioners' additional funding allowed us to honor the 3rd year of our agreement with CASE, ASME, and Food Services. These employees received their 3rd year of salary increases that were negotiated 3 years ago. For our teachers and our A&F staff whose agreements we just ratified, the funding is not there for a similar increase. These ratification agreements amount to 1% salary increase in FY26. We have been able to make some other improvements to find more time for much needed professional learning and teacher time, so that helps. Overall, it is not ideal to only be able to offer such a small increase, and I appreciate the employees in these 2 groups of dedicated employees who were willing to ratify these agreements with those conditions. It shows that there exists some level of mutual commitment and trust towards the bigger picture over time. And I hope in future years we will be able to maintain the momentum we have with the support employee groups this year and build again on the salary plans that we achieved at the teachers and ANS last year.
Dr. Dorsey.
Dr. Dorsey.
I'd like to echo those remarks, Ms. Battaglia, and I'd just say that I agree with the sentiment that we do need to find a way to regain that momentum. Having been associated with our school system for so many years now, it seems that all too often that becomes our pattern. We reach a point where we fall behind or we're having trouble hiring and retaining, and we have that one really good salary year or cycle. But then oftentimes we fall back into the pattern of that one good year followed by many very lean years. So I too hope that we can work to find a way to avoid that pattern now. Along with us, we are asking our employees to work through a period of major change and transition, which by itself can certainly be unsettling. And we're asking them to continue to perform at or above our historic levels of comparative achievement, even though we know we don't necessarily have the same resources as other systems. We need to do all that we can to actively support our employees and to do our best for them so that they can continue to do the best for the children here in Carroll County.
We'll move on to 6H. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Whistler. And a second by Dr. Dorsey. Dr. McCabe.
From time to time, our independent bus contractors which wish to transfer contracts to one another. Once those transfers are reviewed and approved by staff, they are brought to the board for approval. This action is for the transfer of one route contract. Any questions?
Comments, questions? All right, I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Passes unanimously. Next is 6I, approval of FY25 operating budget adjustments. Do I have a motion? All right, moved by Mrs. Zimmer and second by Mr. Whistler. Dr. McCabe.
At the close of each fiscal year, we bring any necessary budget adjustments or transfers. All budget adjustments or transfers must be approved by both the Board of Education and then the County Commissioners. Tonight, we have 4 actions for your approval. The first item includes 2 positive adjustments to property recognized value into the operating budget. The first is to recognize $8 million in existing rebates from our prescription rebate program to offset expenditures in employee medical insurance. This adjustment helps align our budgeting with the actual revenues and expenditures in employee medical insurance and aligns with the methodology our benefits actuaries are using for their rate setting. The second adjustment of $1.8 million is to recognize the actual investment income realized in FY25. Interest rates did not fall as much as anticipated, allowing for this budget adjustment in FY25.
Comments, questions? Dr. Malvo?
I just wonder if we can explore that. That's quite the figure, 8 million, how that was able to occur. If you could give us a little bit of information on that, John.
Sure. As you all know, especially the last couple of fiscal years prior, we had been before you at the same time each year bringing fairly sizable budget transfers to cover into the fixed category charge category to cover actual claims experience in the employee medical program. And we left this time last year committed to working with Bolton Partners, who are our consultants and our actuaries, to sort of unpack that a little bit and figure out what can we do to make sure that we can bring this program back into a sound place. And so that work's been ongoing, continues to be ongoing. There are other strategies that will come that are not budget related, but one of the key strategies that Bolton identified was that even though our claims usage and our program usage had gone up in the last 3 years, so too therefore was the rebate the prescription drug rebate funding coming back to the Board of Ed. And from a budgetary and accounting standpoint, we had not recognized the full value of that revenue. It was not previously recognized as revenue in your budget. And so the conversation about rate setting with Bolton, sort of how are you arriving at these rates based on what we're seeing, they made it clear to us that they look at the total package of the program, including the rebate funding, as they're looking at. They're budgeting it different than we are actually budgeting. They're looking at all of that, including that revenue. We sat down with them and looked at actuals over many years and feel that this amount in 25 is certainly there to be adjusted. This is a real number, and we have built a number higher, not higher than 8, but higher than where it's been into your FY26 budget to try to sort of bring the reality of the benefits program into a line. So, Dr. Malvo, I would view this as sort of that one-time major adjustment to sort of catch up to where our consultants are telling us we should be in terms of viewing the program as a whole.
All right, thank you for explaining that.
All right, any other comments or questions? All right, I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. 6J is our next one. It's the approval of the FY25 operating budget adjustment for use of fund balance. May I have a motion? Moved by Dr. Malvo, and a second? Second by Ms. Zimmer. Dr. McCabe.
This adjustment is to use fund balance for 2 qualifying one-time expenditures in FY25. The first is an adjustment of $800,000 to address increased utility costs, and the second is to complete the purchase of new materials required as curriculum is adjusted for the science of reading. The initial purchases for earlier phases of these required materials was made with federal ESSER funds.
All right. Any comments or questions? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Passes unanimously. Next, we have 6K. May I have a motion for the approval of FY25 food service budget adjustments? Moved by Dr. Dorsey. And a second by Mr. Whistler.
This is a budget adjustment within the food services budget to recognize increased sales of meals and a la carte items that exceed the established budget.
Any comments or questions? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Passes unanimously. Next, I have 6L, approval of the FY25 operating budget transfers. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Whistler and second by Dr. Malvo. All right.
And this last item is the typical year-end transfer among the major operating budget categories to reconcile them for the year end.
Comments or questions? All right, I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. Next, I have 6M, approval of additional legal fees. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dr. Dorsey and second by Mr. Whistler.
In June each year, we reconcile the annual retainer agreement with our legal counsel and pay any additional legal fees over retainer. Billable hours beyond the annual retainer are discounted at 80% of the hourly rate per our retainer agreement with PK Law. The reconciliation has been completed, and the amount of additional legal fees beyond the retainer is $197.69. Questions?
I'll go ahead and ask, what was like the primary reason for the additional fees?
So the fees aren't really considered additional. The retainer is just to retain PK Law as our attorney. It's not to estimate the amount that we will that we will pay or probably pay to the law firm.
Okay.
So we always expect to go over our retainer, and we are actually below about the same as what we paid last year.
Okay.
Total.
It's very consistent with prior
And
years.
again, I anticipate a request from the public, so I'll ask it. What was our retainer? So we can add that if you,
The retainer for FY '25 was 200,000.
okay, so if you add that up, 200,000 plus 116, because I'm sure someone's going to request it out there, there you have it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Passes unanimously. And the last one, nope, we have two more. Approval to retain legal counsel for FY '26. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dr. Dorsey and second by Ms. Zimmer. Dr. McCabe.
Okay. Also, each year in June, we enter into an agreement to retain legal counsel for the new fiscal year. I recommend that we continue to retain PK Law, given the broad range of quality service that they continue to provide to us. We've reached terms for a new retainer agreement that contains a slight increase to the annual retainer and to the hourly rate.
All right. Comments, questions?
I would just like to thank them for their services that they've provided over the years.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Many, 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 many years.
Mhm.
Many, many years. All right. All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Passes unanimously. And the last one for action items is 6O, approval of revised 2025-2026 school calendar. Do I have a motion? We'll do Dr. Malvo made the motion, and a second by Dr. Dorsey.
Okay, the ratification of the master agreement with CCEA provides for 8 additional early dismissal days to provide needed time for system professional learning activities and teacher planning time. Therefore, I am recommending this modified school calendar for the coming school year, which includes the early dismissal days. Pending board approval, the modified calendar will be shared with the community.
All right. Any comments or questions? Dr. Dorsey?
Well, again, it's certainly something that's needed. And as we looked at our reports that we received from the Teacher Advisory Council and also from the Special Ed Citizens Advisory Council, they were recommending additional professional development time. You know, it's something that we need more of in our calendar.
Definitely, and especially as the classroom becomes more complex, and as someone stated earlier, we expect continued improvement in student achievement. Then it's important for us to put in that quality professional development time for our staff.
All right. Any other comments or questions? All right, I will call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Passes unanimously. All right, next we have for discussion items only. It is 2 items. The first one is 7A, Board Policy JLI, Student Exclusion, Physical Restraint, and Prohibition of Seclusion. Dr. McCabe.
So, Board Policy JLI is being brought back this month for a 3-year review, and to make sure it aligns to our to the current legislation. So, I'm going to ask Mr. Streeker to come to the podium and just quickly summarize what those changes are.
I heard quickly.
So as you can see, wow, that's my best joke I've told in like a month. So just real quick, we did a deep dive to make sure we're in alignment with COMAR. We noticed that in our existing policy, the fourth bullet that's in all caps in the policy statement is a direct quote out of COMAR that we had not included prior, so we want to make sure we corrected that. And we also noticed that we didn't cite both the COMAR and the education article, so we've added the education article reference to the guidelines, as well as made a correction that this has nothing to do with corporal punishment. Rather, it has to do with teachers and school security guards intervening in fights, which is already referenced within the definition of restraint and remains unchanged. The definitions are unchanged on page 2, board members. The only thing that's changing is the policy statement and the correct reference in the second bullet under guidelines.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Okay. All right, we'll move on then to.
And I'll just add before we go on to the next that this one is, as well as the next one, will go out for public comment and we'll come back for your approval next month.
Sounds good. All right. And next one is 7B, Board Policy JLCE, First Aid and Healthcare.
Okay. So this one, JLCE, First Aid and Healthcare, is being brought to you this evening to also make sure that it aligns with recent legislation and to make sure that we add in the verbiage in there about bronchodilators, which we have not had in the past. Mr. Streeter?
Yeah, there was actually a law that changed this last legislative session, which required MSD and MDH to put a joint work group together. Bronchodilators is the fancy term for inhaler, in case you're curious of what that is. And the two definitions we need to add are what is a bronchodilator and when would we use it, which is in respiratory distress. Another change that was made is in alignment with a COMAR change to a subtle change that they no longer require us to use epinephrine auto-injectors. There is a provision that we can use emergency use epinephrine, and that really has to do with in the event we're unable to purchase EpiPens that we're traditionally able to use, we can actually by single dose drawdown. A nurse would have to do that administration because it's a drawdown, but there's a change in COMAR with that. So we do intend to continue to use auto-injectors, but in the event that they're unavailable, there was a shortage a few years back actually with COVID where they couldn't get them as and they extended the expiration date, and it all worked out because we were able to get them eventually. But that's the other subtle change within the policy.
Sounds good. And I like how it does give the definitions again so the public can understand, like, you know, exactly what that means, what the naloxone medication is for, items like that, because it is important for the public to understand, you know, that those things are available in our schools if need be.
They are all available with our AED. It's part of the package, and you know we're glad we have it. We hope we don't need it.
Any comments or questions, Dr. Malvo?
I just wanted to piggyback on what you had just said, actually, Ms. Battaglia, in terms of these definitions, very helpful, in particular this last definition in terms of opioid overdose. People assuming that overdose occurring because just the opioid itself, but it's really so much more in terms of resulting from that with someone who's on a benzodiazepine or just mixing alcohol with it and so forth is really a big issue in terms of that overdose.
Well, even now THC is considered, if like a child were to have a reaction to the THC, if they ingested too much, it can be considered an overdose as well. So I think it's important for the community to make sure they read that and they understand at what point naloxone may be used in our schools on a student if they need to be having revived in some way.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Any other questions or comments?
Yes. I just
Yes,
had
go
one. Did you say, Mr. Streeter, that we will be still using the EpiPens? So why are we crossing out?
Because the state the law changed. The law used to require the auto-injector, but what they have realized is there were cases where we couldn't, they were systems that couldn't get them because they literally weren't available. So the law has changed to permit us to use emergency use epinephrine as a single, like a drawdown. So it would be a vial with a syringe situation, which is not our intent, but we need to be positioned that in the event we actually can't get auto injectors, we'd be in compliance with Maryland law by buying the single drawdowns. So we hope we never need it, but that's what the law says we now can do, and we certainly don't intend to do that. But if we were in that situation, we wouldn't want to violate our own policy and comply with the law. So that's why we made the adjustment in alignment with the law.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Again, another thing we hope we don't need to do, but that's why the law changed.
Okay.
Right. All right. Any other comments or questions? All right, we'll go out for public comment and we'll discuss it. Oh, did you have one, sir? Nope, okay. All right, all right, here we go. And it's just after 6:30. We're doing good. All right, the next board meeting will be on July 16th. It is the third Wednesday at 4 p.m. here in the boardroom with public participation at 125 North Court Street here in Westminster. Welcome to our new student rep for the board. Get your feet wet a little bit here. We'll see you next month. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved by Dr. Dorsey. Second? Second by Dr. Malvo. All in favor? Aye. Everyone have a wonderful last day of school.